There's now no place for me in America, the only country I've ever known. That was the headline I lived through. I grew up in Dallas from the moment I could walk. My first words were in English, my first birthday was a Texas July 4th celebration, and my biggest dreams were built on the promise of a future here. My story, however, is set against a system that has denied me the very citizenship I thought was inevitable. I entered the United States when I was just a baby, 4 months old, to be exact, under my parents' E-2 visa, a business-based visa that lets investors employ Americans. My mother had just finished her third trimester when her husband got a job offer in Texas, but we waited until after my birth to file because a pregnant woman could jeopardize the visa process. That week I was born in Mexico City, a day after my parents finally moved to Dallas. If only I had been born after we'd already relocated, I would have been a citizen at birth. Growing up, I never felt different from my classmates. I spoke English more fluently than Spanish, watched Disney, followed One Direction, and climbed to the top of my high school. I led clubs, graduated valedictorian, and earned a scholarship to a public Texas university. My life was a story of hard work, possibility, and the American myth of merit. The turning point came when I finished high school and looked at the next step, a college degree that would eventually classify me as a credentialed professional. I learned that the old laws that allow my parents to remain here, and allow me to study, are not designed to protect children as they age. If a child was born abroad on a dependent visa and turns 21 before the parents secure permanent residency, that child is forced to leave. My family's green card paperwork is stuck in a backlog that can stretch for years or decades. We can renew our visa indefinitely, but it is a temporary bubble that will eventually crack. The reality is, after I become 21, I'll have no legal path to stay in the country that raised me, regardless of my achievements or my love for the place. The math is inescapable. Over 250,000 children like me are trapped in the same limbo. They've literally lived their whole lives in America, yet the system says we're not truly ours. It forces families to make impossible choices, either let a child leave, or sacrifice the life that would allow them to stay. On July 4th of this year I packed a suitcase, not because I wanted out, but because I had no choice. The walls of the extraordinary American promise are closing on me, and I went this way not from a desire to leave but because the path to citizenship had been snipped long before I could even ask for it. My message is simple but unsettling. The United States, a country that prides itself on being a land of opportunity, has built a system that blocks the very people who dedicate their lives and dreams to it. The promise of home is a myth when legal status is locked behind bureaucratic backlogs and shifting regulations. In closing, my departure is not a personal failure but a mirror of a larger denial that cuts across every family that has grown up in new Texan suburbs. This is a story that remains untold in most conversations about immigration reform, and it is high time the narrative changed. Thank you for listening to my journey. Goodbye.